are soaring flight of imagination, saturated in the movable. Removable, no excuses. You're breaking all the rules. You are brew, composed in shea butter, peppermint and honey black soap. Nas lifeline inscribed in palm, unconventional, standing 20 feet tall. You are 1969 in the syncopated. Improvisation to the metronome. You chasse too. You allow your voice to ripen before time signatures expire in measures. You origami chords. You are where 30 shakes hands with adolescence, realizing you just hit puberty. Watch as red clay seeps through pores, building pyramids past prime. You are prime at 44. All brass, double bass, 2 drummers, 3 electric pianos, and percussionists all saying forget it at once. Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. So we are back for another episode of All About Our Liberation. I am so excited to be in this space with you all today. Please make sure you are getting your folks in the room because as y'all know, all of our conversations are amazing. So you want to make sure you're getting the people in the room. So make sure you tag them. Let us know that you are here. I want to welcome you to this space. And if you don't know who I am, it is your girl, Heather Bird, visionary founder and CEO of Bird's World Publishing, where we are on a mission to empower individuals, especially women of color, to write and publish their brilliance so they can turn their messages into movements. Y'all hear me? So they can turn their messages into movements. And we are not playing about that mission. All right. And today I am extremely excited to invite you to All About Our Liberation, the podcast, as we work collectively to reclaim and rebuild our way back home to ourselves. This is inspired by the upcoming anthology, All About Our Liberation, a manifesto for women of color, volume 1. And we are here in this space, extending the conversation so that we can transform on the page and in person. All right. So together, we want to be able to create permission to write and to rest and to remember who we were before the world got its hands on us. All right. So get your people in the room. I'm telling you, sometimes you don't even know the conversation you need in order to make that shift in your life. This is one of these places. We have conversations like this every single morning. And we are bringing this here to you in the afternoon, in the evening. I forgot what time of day it was. In the evening, through this podcast, All About Our Liberation. And I cannot wait for y'all to meet today's guest. All right. So tag, share, make a comment, leave a comment. Let us know where you are coming from. I can see you all in the comment section. So I want to make sure that we shout you out. And I want to know where you're coming from, all right? Because we got folks from all over the country that tune in. But before we get started, I want to make sure that we send a very special shout out to the network that made this opportunity possible. There are so many amazing shows that are taking place every single day of the week through the Female Solution. So I want to make sure to just take a moment and introduce the Female Solution to you so y'all know who we are and what we're about. And then we'll come back in about 30 seconds, and then we're going to dive into the real. All right, so get your people in the room. We want to make sure that you were grounded before we hop in, and let's go ahead and check out our shout out for the Female Solution here with us. All right. So I'm going to be watching y'all. I see the chat. Let's make it happen.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
All right. We are back, everyone. So thank you so much, the Female Solution, again, for making this possible. Y'all can check out shows every day of the week. We have shows Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. There are also shows that happen on on Saturday and Sunday. Y'all see some of those in a second during our commercial break. But make sure y'all checking in and really being a part of these conversations because they are so important for our community. All right. So if this is y'all first time here, get ready. All right. If y'all are returners and y'all are in the space, y'all already know what time this is. We want to make sure that we are creating space to ground ourselves before we even begin to move into the conversation. All right. So, with that, I would love to be able to invite you if you are in a good place. If you're driving, that is not the place. All right. Just want to remind you. But if you are stationary and if you are safe and feel comfortable to do so, I really want to take a second and pause. We don't create enough space for us to pause and for us to listen. And we're going to dive into that a little bit later on today. But I would love to invite you all to just close your eyes for a second. And I would love for you to do a quick body scan. Figure out where your heart is. Is it racing? Is it normal? Is it excited? Is it worried? I know mine is grieving today. Pay attention to the space between your eyebrows. Are you scrunching your face up? Does your jaw need to be relaxed? Pay attention to your hips, right? Do they need to be stretched? Are they tight? How are your hands doing and your arms? Feel free to move those around. Check in with your legs, soles of your feet, your toes. And whichever part of your body needs a hug the most, excuse me, I want you to hone in on that part of your body because we are going to move into our humming ritual where we're going to take 4 deep breaths and exhales. And for the first inhale and exhale, it's going to be a regular inhale through your nose and out through your mouth. And then the next 3 are going to be an inhale through your nose, and we're going to hum out for those 3. Whatever part of your body needs the hug the most, and I am talking to myself right now, y'all. We're going to send that hum to the part of our body that needs it the most. So let's go ahead and take a nice collective deep breath in together. And out through your mouth. In through your nose. And hum out. Make sure you can feel the vibration of the hum. Make it as loud and as long as you need to. Another deep breath in. And hum out. One last time. Nice deep breath in. And a deep hum out. And while you're in this space, I want to invite you to keep your eyes closed if you can. And one of the things that we love to be able to do within All About Our Liberation is invite you in on a quote for the day, right? We want to be able to ground ourselves not only in our breath and our body, but also in our minds and pause and think, right? So, with that, for today's quote, I would love to be able to honor Ma Rainey, Mother of Blues, right? And one of her quotes is, "Let your soul do the singing." It's so simple, yet so hard, right? Let your soul do the singing. So, as we take this commercial break, I would love for you all to take a moment and really pull in that quote. Let your soul do the singing, right? And I would love for you to consider this question. You all know I'm a writing coach, right? Y'all know I believe in journaling. And so if you do have paper and pen, take a second, jot down some thoughts. And for today, with this quote, I would love for you all to just stop for a second and listen to what your soul is whispering to you today. And I want you to jot down some notes. What is it saying to you? All right. So stop for a second and listen to what your soul is whispering to you today. I want you to ask yourself, what is it saying? All right. So go ahead, jot down some notes. We will be back. So go ahead, grab your snacks, grab your water, because we're about to dive into this conversation after this commercial break. All right. Get your people in the room. I'm still gonna tell y'all that. Tag them. Let them know we here. Comment. All right. I will see y'all in about a minute and a half. So go ahead and mull over that quote and that question. And I'll see y'all in a little bit.
Welcome to Master Force with Mushim Suit. Join us each week on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central, live on Facebook and YouTube on the Female Solution page. As we dive into powerful topics designed to assist you in mastering your life force, our conversations feature a diverse lineup of experts, all dedicated to your growth. Tune in weekly to discover new ways to elevate your spirit and raise your vibration. And remember, we are ascending.
Great day. It's your girl Asada here to introduce a new female solution show called Asada Says. That's right. Every month we're going to talk about everything I am, from cryptocurrency and financial security to good health and parenting strategies. Come on and talk with me every Tuesday morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And let's do that thing the way Asada says it should be done. See you then. Peace, right here on the Female Solution.
All right, y'all. And we're back. So, like I said, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m., 7 p.m., you're going to find something that fits into your conversation, right? And also on Saturday and Sunday, we also have shows. So make sure y'all check out the Female Solution Facebook page for more. Y'all, we're back. We are back and we're back and we're back and we're back. And if you're just now joining us, I want to be able to welcome you all to All About Our Liberation, the podcast, where we work collectively to remember, to reclaim, and to rebuild our way back home. Y'all, all right. Y'all have had the time to get it together, because now it is time for us to be able to welcome our guests to this episode. So if y'all are ready for our guests, make sure y'all let us know that you are here in the chat. I can see y'all. Zelda, you are hilarious. I hope y'all had some time to check out the quote that I mentioned by Ma Rainey. She said, "Girlfriend, what you know about Ma Rainey? My soul is singing while listening to you. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe." Thank you so much, Zelda. I appreciate you for joining us today. Look here, y'all. I want y'all to get ready, because I'm about to introduce this next guest. And when I say you need this guest in your life to realign yourself, it is no joke. All right. So, Pamela J. Thomas is a devotional liberator. First of all, come on with the descriptors. All right. Come on. All right. I'm going to start over. Pamela J. Thomas is a devotional liberator and guide for visionary women, especially women of color, navigating seasons of transition, reinvention, and legacy. She is the author of Women Don't Retire, which we will talk a little bit more throughout the podcast, right? And the founder of Women Don't Retire Roundtable, while high capacity women gather to realign with their inner compass and lead from coherence rather than performance. Through her writing, teaching, and soul sync conversations, Pamela explores ancestral assignment, sacred rest, and soul aligned wealth, helping women return to their natural rhythm and build lives that honor who they truly are. Y'all, I told y'all, get ready. And I was not playing. So y'all help me in the chat, in your rooms. I might not be able to see you, but look here. If you got some pom-poms by you, go ahead and grab the pom-poms and help me in welcoming Pam to All About Our Liberation. Pam, thank you
Hello,
so
Heather. I am
thank you.
so excited to be here with you. You all
Oh,
don't know, Heather and I um, met, oh, I guess it's more than a year ago now. Yeah, quite. It's more like a year and a half ago. And the
yeah.
first conversation, we just kind of like we were just vibing in a way that doesn't happen too often. So I've been following her and sharing in her community for a little while now. And I just am so happy to be here with y'all.
Oh my goodness. And there's so much alignment between what you do and what I do, and the way that that just came together, and the way that we are helping each other and feeding into our own missions and purpose in this life, right?
Yeah,
It feels so good. So thank you so much for saying yes
of course.
several times over. And I cannot wait to dive into this conversation with you. So
Yeah,
welcome to
likewise.
Celebration.
Yeah. Yes,
So
yes,
we're
yes.
gonna we're gonna kick off, right? We're gonna kick off with this quote, right? Let your soul do the singing. And before we went off to commercial, one of the things that I asked folks to do is really take note of what your soul is whispering to you today. And so, Pam, what is it? What is it saying to you today? What's your soul saying?
Girl, my soul is really singing joyfully about this walk that I've been on um,
Mm.
for quite a while now. I am in this moment where 20 years of preparation have landed for me in a way I knew very a sketch of what was coming, but I am now singing with joy because
Mm.
what is here has always been there, but now it's manifest.
Oof. Oof. And that's a different feeling. That's a different feeling to have what you have dreamt of to be right in front of you and to have
That's
it
right.
in your hands.
That's right.
That's also very powerful, right?
Yes.
It's a testament to how much power we actually have to make our dreams come true, right?
Yes.
Regardless of what other people have to say. So I
That's
love the
right.
fact that you are living in this space right now and being able to serve as a possibility model for others.
Yes. 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 And aren't we all for each other anyhow? You know, there's nothing about what I find so interesting is sometimes people think when you get the vision, it's gonna happen really fast, and I don't think that's the nature of life. You can, and we try to color it in. Really, you know, we're like trying to color in, and we think we're gonna do this and make it happen, and all of that. And
Yeah.
you know, 20 years in the making, and I honestly, I didn't understand all the turns, but I wouldn't change a thing at this
Hmm.
point.
I mean, because everything we can't see it in the moment all the time, right? To know that what happened 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago was going to lead to who we are now. And it's
That's
those
right.
lessons that allow us to show up the way that we're showing up, allow us to help others in the
That's
way
right.
that we're helping others. And so
That's right.
for myself, I'm just now having clarity in why I went through some things that I went through 10 years ago. And I'm like,
Yes,
oh, you were setting me up for this moment right now that I
that's right.
that I prayed for, that I've been writing in my journal about, that I've been manifesting, and it's all a part of it. It can be really hard to be in that moment when it's
Yeah.
happening, right?
Yeah, the in between space, right? That's what I mean. And that's at the end of the day, what I realize now is that what I do best is help people in the in between space because I had a lot of in between spaces and a long in between space too. I had
Yeah.
certain parts of this I saw 20 years ago, and I was like, why is
Mm.
it taking so long? And so there's this
Mhm.
piece of learning to sit with what is and um, understanding that we have only a limited comprehension of the fullness of who we are and the fullness of what life is and the world and all of those things. So we can't, it never can happen. Well, it rarely happens quickly, and if it looks like it happens quickly, it's normally been a process anyhow, even if it's
Yes,
not apparent to
always.
others.
Always. And it can sometimes feel like it happened overnight when in
That's right.
reality, if we actually take the time to pause
That's
and
right.
figure out what has
Oh,
happened. It's okay. Y'all,
we're
life
under
be life.
tornado threat. Yeah. Um,
That is okay. Please take a look at that message. Everything okay?
yeah, okay. Oh my word.
It's okay. We are here.
Oh,
Oh, that's
there's
okay.
something. So, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
nothing we can do about that. I'd rather you
Okay.
get the warning
Okay.
than not get the warning.
Okay. Let me just go check.
Okay, all right. You all, let's make sure that we are creating space for the folks that are on the East Coast, because the weather has been doing some very interesting things with us for March, across the country and across the world, right? So, um, Pam is just going to take a second and recalibrate to make sure everything is okay. This was something that she talked about a little bit earlier today, but we thought we were in the clear. So we're just going to take a moment and make sure that things are all right. But yes, while we are rating, I would love to be able to hear from you all in the chat, right? What is something that you have realized that has benefited you in your own pause, right? We're talking about this space where we are having this opportunity to pause and figure out what our soul is actually, I'm sorry, what our soul is actually whispering to us, right? And if that is the case, what is it saying? I know for me, as I move into this next chapter of my business and my life, I am in a space where I am in gratitude, right? For the times that were extremely challenging, for the times that I had others who held me when I did not understand what was going on around me. Um, and the importance of me going through things that I did not understand in the moment, right? There have been lessons of patience, to say the least, right? Lessons of patience that was necessary, for me to just step back. And that's why I truly believe journaling is one of those things that you think you know the answer to what it is that is going on with you. But if I were to take that question that I asked you all earlier in terms of what is your soul whispering and what is it actually saying? And if I were to sit down for at least 25 minutes and really unpack and begin to see the layers that have started to reveal themselves, what I started off with in minute one is not going to be the thing that I end up with at minute 25. So it is something that is extremely important for us to do in that pause, not only to be in our own thoughts, but to create space to pick up a notebook and to pick up a pen and jot down what is on your mind, because there is something so sacred and so beautiful and so clarifying when you have a notebook and a pen in your hand and you are writing. And when you are writing, what is looking back at you is going to be different than what you might be thinking, right? Sometimes your hand might not be able to keep up, but you're going to see something that's going to cause a shift in you. I always know when I'm getting closer to an answer that needs to be um, explored is when I start cussing, y'all. I'm not even going to lie to you. When I get to the point where I'm like, oh no, and like expletives start coming out of my mouth, I'm like, oh, that's because I'm uncomfortable. I need to explore that a little bit more. Or if my emotion shifts from, okay, I'm just writing to, oh, I need to pause, right? And so us being able to create the space to do that is so important. So, Zelda, thank you so much for the prayers for weather challenges. Yes. And look here. Hey, Faith, it's so good to see you in this space. And you said, yeah, here in North Carolina, the winds and rain have been scary, and we've had some interesting weather here ourselves, here in Chicago as well. So I want to make sure that we always have the opportunity to stay safe and to do what we can in the moment, because our health and our wealth of our health is always going to be important, and safety comes first. So I really appreciate y'all for rocking with us with this pivot that we are currently in right now, as Pam is checking in on what is going on in her area. Um, and so, what I would love to do for the folks that are here with us, if you would love to be able to interact in the chat with us, please do so. I am here and I can see you. Um, and no, we'll do this first. So I want to just take a moment for us to think about our liberation. I actually did an 8 session cohort with some writers, and one of the questions that I asked them every single day that we met together was, what does liberation feel like for you today? Right? Because we are ever evolving. There are things in which we can only see today that we won't see in a year. And so, wanting to be able to honor that evolution is super important. And so, thinking about our own liberation, I would love for you all to just take a moment and think about that question. What does liberation feel like for you today? Right? And let us know in the comments what that looks like as we are talking about all about our liberation, which I am extremely excited because we are rounding the corner of the anthology that sparked this podcast conversation. And so you all will be able to hold All About Our Liberation, a manifesto for women of color, volume 1 in your hands in 2026. And in that space, we have so many necessary conversations about our own liberation, right? So let us know what liberation feels like for you today in the chat. Now I'm going to take a second and even think about what that means for me, right? One of the things that's coming up for me in the moment is having a new sense of time freedom and time reclamation in a way that I've never had before. For those of you all who know me, I am in year 2 of my full time work in entrepreneurship and allowing my dreams to come true, right? So, as I'm in this space, I am learning how to reclaim my own time. I am learning how to honor myself and creating time for me to rest in a way that I've never had before. And I'm noticing what happens with my mind when I create the space for me to rest. I know y'all have read that book. Where is it? One of my favorite things to do is turn and look at my bookshelf because, as y'all can see, I have a lot of books. But Rest is Resistance, right? I have that book somewhere in here that I can't currently find. However, there really is a revolution in us being able to rest in a way that we've never been able to rest before. And there is a clarity. I remember the first time I needed to take a sabbatical, and all I did was focus in on my body and what it needed in the moment. So when I needed to take a nap, I took a nap without guilt. When I needed to eat, I ate without guilt. When I needed to just sit and be in silence with nothing going on around me, I did just that. When I needed to read, that was actually one of the books that I read was Rest was Resistance. I picked up a book and read. When I needed to journal, I journal. When I needed to leave the house, I did so. And I've never been in a space where I owned my own time in the way that I did during that sabbatical. And it opened up a level of clarity for me that I've never experienced, because I, up until that point, my mind, my body, my choices all aligned with somebody else's clock, somebody else's idea of where I needed to be. And I didn't realize how much of a toll that was taking on my body and my mind. And in some of those spaces, because I felt like I had to show up in all of these spaces, and not because I couldn't say no, because I can say no. I have no problem with saying no. I thought my no meant that I was in misalignment, and I had to understand, if that's a word, we're going to make it a word. I had to really break down and understand what my no really meant, right? It wasn't necessarily a misalignment, because I am so passionate about the things that are around me. I want to always hop in and help everyone else except myself. I put myself further back. I'm not going to say last, but I definitely put myself further back in the chain of who was being taken care of. And so if somebody needed me, I hopped up and I was there within the quickness, whether or not I ate, slept well, whether or not I had a headache. I didn't take an assessment of who I was, right? And so I had the opportunity in that moment, in that reclamation, of understanding what it meant to reclaim my time and to do things that I wanted to be able to do or needed to do in order to make it happen, right? And so, what does liberation mean for me today? For me, it is a reclamation of my time. And if what I am doing is not leaning in on my own dream that I am building, if it is not in alignment with my need for rest, because y'all, I have never pulled an all nighter. I have never pulled an all nighter. So it is really important for us to think about what it is we need for our own liberation and where we are in that process. So, what does liberation mean to you, and what does it feel like for you today? And really take a look at that, and then take an assessment of, is that where I want to be? And if it is not, it's important for you to be able to identify the gaps that exist and think about, how am I going to get to where I want to be? Our liberation starts with us being able to name the things that we need, name the things that are in misalignment with who we are. And if it is in misalignment, how do we change things? Even if it is one small step, how can we make that happen? All right. So that is going to be my question for you all today. It looks like the tornado, I always get watch and warning confused, but the thought of a tornado and someone's safety is, in question right now. And so I ask for y'all prayers as Pam is getting all the things situated and taking care of what she needs to take care of in her space. And I thank you all so much for being in this space with us as we are having this conversation together. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reschedule this conversation, because when I tell you, Pam and I, when we met, it was through a mutual connection, and her alignment with making sure that we have the opportunity to liberate ourselves aligned so much with what we do in Bird's World, because here we heal first, we write second, and we build movements with our message third, all in service of our liberation. And Pam is a part of that liberatory space that we are building. Everything happens for a reason. I see you, Faith. Faith said, "I'm sorry that the weather interfered." Everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that. And that just means that this conversation was meant for another day. And first priority is making sure that Pam is safe, right? So I thank you so much for tuning in and for being here. In the meantime, if y'all have some new reading that you need to get caught up on, make sure y'all check out Women Don't Retire: How to Live Your Passion and leave your legacy. Oh snap, wait a minute, hold on, you're back in your seat. Okay, hold on now. We gonna check in. We gonna check
Okay.
in.
Life is lifing, right?
Life is lifing. Is everything
That's
okay over there?
Yeah. It was not far. Just it was less than 2 miles away where they
Right.
claimed the path was, but yes, it's gone past. Anyhow,
It's
life.
okay. I'm glad that you're
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, we were gonna pivot and be like, we can reschedule if we need to, if everything is okay.
I
But
love
Monica,
that you pivoted and it seemed to
yeah,
have stayed on. I wasn't sure what you were going to do or
I
whether I'd
wasn't
make it
sure
back.
either. I was going with the flow. And as soon as I was like, I think we might pivot, you showed up. Hey, Amanda. Amanda's really one of our sister resistors. And if y'all did not catch the last episode of All About Our Liberation
Oh
with
man.
Amanda Wingate, when I tell you episode 6 is something to catch, you want to
Yeah.
make sure you check that out, right? So good to see you, Amanda. I want to check in with you before we do anything. How are you feeling? Are you okay to
Yeah.
have
I
conversation?
I feel like this is a moment that actually fits the conversation, which is that, um, well, I don't, you haven't announced the topic yet, but I kind of feel like this moment might segue nicely into the conversation. So
Yes.
if you want to go for it, let's do this.
I'm for it. I say
Okay.
let's do it. Like I said,
Yeah,
everything happens for a reason.
that's right.
And maybe that conversation that we had while you were checking on all the things needs to happen. We talked about what does liberation look like for us and in our bodies right today, because that's going to shift from day to day as we get to our goal, and how
Beautiful.
your work is a part of that, right? So hi
Mhm.
Geraldine. It is so good to see you. Thank you for tuning in, y'all. All right. Well, let's see where this goes. Um, I look here. We are showing up for ourselves. I know today was a difficult day for me to show up. And yet we did it, right? Because we know this conversation is necessary. And I know I wasn't doing it alone,
That's
right?
right.
If I knew I had to show up to this on my own, there might have been a strong consideration for me to go and just go curl up in my bed, right? But I wanted to make sure that I was showing up for you, right? And so as we move into this conversation about community and why it's important, and our voice and recalibration and all of those things, it's so important that we're not doing this work alone. So with that, Pam, if you are okay to do so, one of the things that you know that we do on All About Our Liberation is we open up the conversation with a letter to a sister resistor.
Yeah.
And so I would love for you to open up the space with your letter, and then that will lead us into conversation. And so thank you again for being here with all the things that are going on. And I
Yeah.
really
Of
appreciate
course,
you.
I wouldn't change this for anything. I just have a sense that the moment of um, attending to what is
Mm,
will be relevant in this conversation today. And I was such a pleasure to write from the space of knowing the community that I was coming into to
mm,
speak. So
mm.
let me share, and let's just take a breath together. Dear sister, you're standing at the edge again. You know the feeling, that particular stillness that isn't peace. It's the held breath before a decision your body has already made and your mind hasn't caught up yet. You've been here before, maybe many times, and each time something in you has found a reason to wait, to prepare a little more, to make sure the moment is right, the words are ready, the room is safe enough. I'm not going to tell you to jump. What I want to say is simpler and harder. The threshold you're standing at isn't asking you to become someone new. It's asking you to stop performing someone old. The version of you that translates before she speaks, that pre-edits her clarity into palatability, that has learned with great skill and intelligence how to make her truth land softly enough that no one has to feel the full weight of it. She was wise, that version. She kept you in rooms. She kept you connected. She kept things smooth. But you've noticed, haven't you, that smoothness has a cost? That somewhere in all that translation, you stopped being sure which voice was yours. That you can deliver a perfectly calibrated message and walk away feeling strangely hollow. That hollowness is information. It's not evidence that something's wrong with you. It's evidence that you've outgrown the translation. That your actual voice, the unsoftened one, the one that knows things before it can explain them, has been waiting at this threshold longer than you realize. Here's what I know about stepping through. You won't do it perfectly. Some people will need time to adjust to the original version of you after years of the translation. Some rooms will feel different. Some relationships will ask new things of both of you. And your field, the one that forms around you when you are fully and honestly present, will be something women can actually find their way to. Not a version of you, but you. That's worth the calibration and the recalibration. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to perform the crossing. You just have to stop going back to the translated version when the original one's right there. She's been patient, but she's ready when you are. And I believe, and have always believed, that the world is more ready for her than you've been told. Come through, sister. I'll be on the other side. Ashe.
Ashe. Yes. Yes. My goodness. You said, where did it go? There's so many. Notice the smoothness has a cost. And I felt that deeply because there have been so many moments where I have used up good energy to
Yes.
make sure that what I was saying was palpable enough, that what I was saying allowed for people to even hear me. And when I say hear me, I mean like not because I'm speaking and there's a voice that's in the room, but truly understand. There
Mhm.
been times where I have shown up and wanted to make sure that someone took me serious enough. And so I was very careful in the words that I used. And not giving myself the grace to say the wrong thing in service of finding the truth. Not saying the wrong thing in terms of offending someone, but allowing my sentences to be incomplete, allowing for my thought to be incomplete as I am actively unlearning all of the things that were taught to me that did not serve me.
Yeah.
And so that noticing that smoothness has a cost is something that we do not talk about enough, and how that is held up in our bodies,
That's
how that
right.
in our voice, in our decisions. My word, the
Yeah.
edits before we speak.
Yeah.
How do we begin to align ourselves with our breath and our mind and our body as we are in this space, this threshold, this transition? How do we begin to do that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always come back to the breath and the body first. I found in my journey that I I am a mindful person, and I probably could have called myself a type A personality before. And my
Mm.
mind has all kinds of ideas all the time that are running, but I've learned over the years that the mind is not a reliable tool to discern the truth a lot
Mm.
of the time. And so I bring myself back to the body
Mm.
as the beginning place, because
Mm.
when we relearn, when we're children, our body knows how to speak to us.
All the
And,
time.
and yeah, and when we're children, I mean, I watch parents, and I have not been a parent, but I have parented many people. But I watch parents, um, for socialization purposes, tell children not to trust their body from a young age. And the children know. I mean, I recall a conversation with my cousin, and she said, "My son hates to go to preschool, not kinder. It wasn't even kindergarten. He hates to
Mm.
go to preschool. There's a woman that every time he sees her, he like flinches." And I was like, and she was like, and I keep telling him he needs to, and I said, "Don't override him. Don't over."
Flinching.
Yeah, yeah,
Flinch is a very
yeah.
strong word,
Yes,
like
it is.
that's not a something that you just you overlook. Like flinch
Yeah,
is
but we have been trained. It's not that she meant any
no,
harm, obviously, but
no, we do it
we've been
all the time.
trained that there's certain things, you have to obey your elders, and all of
Yeah.
the things that we've learned. And I'm not saying that that does not have a place in life. Of course it does.
Mhm.
But your body gives you messages to tell you when it's safe and not safe.
Absolutely.
And then we override it with our minds because we've been trained that it's not nice, or getting
Right.
along, or
It's
belonging. All of these
considering the
things,
other person and not honoring our bodies.
not honoring. Mhm,
It's
mhm.
the what do you call it? It's the smoothness.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's literally smoothing over the bumps. And so when you smooth over, you stop having real conversations. You stop dealing in real feelings. You stop even the mind, the mind is a very creative thing. And I am not saying that part of what we are is our mind. And yes, but we got the Descartes idea. I think, therefore I am. Not exactly. It is
Mhm.
an important part, but the mind can craft a lot of things, and it's a beautiful thing in many respects. And it has protective measures and everything. But we have to understand the mind is actually not a reliable discernment tool for the truth a lot of the time. Not it can discern the truth, but normally, if you check with your body, you can guide your mind to a sounder place. Let's just say that, because when somebody doesn't speak to you one day, and I've had this experience many times. Somebody has a bad attitude when they're talking to me, and I'm creating a whole scenario in my mind about how it has something to do with me, and I don't know what it is, and blah blah blah. 90% of the time, how people respond to you is mostly about them. It doesn't really have anything to do with you
Yeah.
and any interaction with you. But our minds can create a whole drama.
Whole scenario.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So I always return to the body first. And for some of us, that's a journey in and of itself, because we've been trained not to trust our bodies by all sorts of things, including traditional religion. And
Mhm.
we have to actually begin a conversation again. It's like having a friend that you haven't seen for a long time, and you have to step back in and start having so this whole thing that you did at the beginning, I was so appreciative of returning to the body. That's where you took us.
Mm,
What's your heart saying?
yeah,
Check in with the rest of the body and see where you feel it. And
absolutely.
there's a constant conversation happening that we ignore, that's so important for us to navigate the world in the truth of who we are, in the fullness of who we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you all are interested in learning more about having that conversation too, to complement this conversation about the body, definitely check out episode 1. We had Dr. Barbara Septis Schreiber join us, who is a somatic healer and therapist, and she's just absolutely brilliant. And we talk about what it means to reconnect with our bodies.
Yes.
I find myself so many times in spaces like actually yesterday and today. Um, I'm in this space of grief that just a wave hit me and I didn't know what was happening. But and now that I think about it again, when you have hindsight and you're looking back on things, and there's so many moments throughout our days that we discount. If I was listening to the whispers, my whispers told me to cry. But
Yes.
I did not want to cry. I don't like the way my body feels when I cry, right? However, after years and years and years of ignoring that, of course your body doesn't like to cry because you've associated a negative feeling around it, and after a
Yeah.
while there's this like pressure cooker that's happening
That's right.
inside of me that is
That's right.
cooking up, right? And so there are so many moments throughout my day where I'm now paying more attention to, all right, what is my body telling me, and without discounting it, what decision can I make to honor it, right?
Mm,
How do I and you said this in your letter, right? You said the hollowness is information.
mm.
It's an indication that you've outgrown the translation, right? And so when something feels like something is missing, what is that telling me?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
pausing and taking the time to actually answer the question instead of like, okay, and then you just kind of keep going throughout your day, right?
Yes.
Ooh,
Yes. 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 Yeah. One
mm,
of the first episodes on my podcast, Soul Sync, was the art of the pause. Or
yeah,
I don't know if that was the first one. I've had a couple of pause, but the
because
art
there's
of
so
the pause, it's a real, yeah, exactly. It's a real thing. You have to learn how to bring the pause back into your life, because nothing about the culture tells us that we should be pausing. Everything's to encourage us to keep moving, moving in the,
yeah,
all of those things are important too. The world is the things the world tells us are important, but the way that we bring the best of us to the world is actually by pausing and listening and speaking and moving from that inner compass. And when we
hmm,
can do that, our impact is beyond our imagination.
absolutely, absolutely. I want to take a second and um, create space to let us into your world, right? Because we're
Mm,
talking about this pause and we're talking about the need for us to be able to listen to ourselves. And it's so different when we're in the journey or on the end of the journey to have that conversation. One of the
yes.
things that I think is extremely important to be able to dive into more is those beginning stages. So I'd love for you to take us into your world and take a moment and take us back to when you first realized you needed to recalibrate. Like, what was that moment when you realized you needed to make a shift?
Yeah. Yeah. Like you, I had a big wake up call in my 30s. Not everybody gets it quite that early on, but I had what some would consider to be a reasonably high powered job. I was traveling the world and all sorts of things. And on the one hand, I loved all of all of the aspects of the job that were really exciting. And on the other hand, as the years went on, and it wasn't even that many years, but as the years went on, I noticed something, like I wasn't getting as much joy out of it and something wasn't quite right. And for a long time, I was fluent in two languages, my actual voice and that translated version of me that I offered to these rooms to be able to feel like I belonged and to make people comfortable with me in these spaces that I was navigating. And I was good at it. Actually, so good, you start to forget who you are. As I said, you forget that that's not that part that version of you is not you. It's like it's a version that's palatable to other people. You forget that that's not actually your voice. And even as recently as in the last year, I've realized that like everything about what we do in the world and our interactions in the world wants to encourage us to kind of move away from the core of our voice on so many levels. And I was getting advice from folks, and I realized, wait a minute, my voice is the most important thing that I have to offer the world. I gotta kind of check in and make sure that my voice is in the middle of all this. And but anyhow, back in my 30s, when I realized that the voice that I was speaking with and the work that I was doing, it turned out also was not in alignment with who I am. It look, it ended up turning into a whole situation. You know how when you're not aligned, there's all sorts of hints that come, and the hints are small. And then if you keep hanging out, then the hints get bigger
We're
and
gonna
bigger
remind
until
you.
yes,
We're
until
gonna
the
remind
cosmic
you where
two
you need to
until
be.
the cosmic 2x4 hits you over the head. And yeah. The cosmic 2x4 hits you overhead, and you're like, oh, okay. So that's what I mean. That was my journey. I basically walked away from a corporate situation, and I was reasonably high on the totem pole. For a 30-year-old, not at the top, but for a 30-year-old, I was reasonably high on the totem pole, and I was like, oh no, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, I can't. It was literally my body was telling me I was having health challenges too. My body was telling me I can't do this anymore, and I was still trying to ignore it because it seemed like, and everybody told me it's you're so lucky. In fact, the people even
Mm,
at the work told me I'm so
mm,
lucky to have the job. Another whole
yeah.
conversation there, because I was probably the most qualified person that they'd ever had doing the job, but that's another conversation. Nevertheless, anyhow, uh,
Oh, that's
yeah. So we pay a price for not
mhm.
listening to the truth of who we are, even if it looks good on the outside. And
Yes.
so it's your body, your business, the relationships, all of these things. And I mean, I really was having health issues that I couldn't quite figure out what was going on because, there's an aspect of which I didn't want to know.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so real. I want to highlight that you made the comment about being fluent in two languages, right? And that's not something that we often consider when we are
Mm,
moving in spaces. And again, how much energy it takes to be fluent in multiple languages.
yes, ma'am.
And there is the need for translation, not only for the intake, but for the output. That goes back to the to the conversation we were having earlier, right?
Yes, yes,
And understanding the amount of energy that it takes to show up in that way.
that's
So
right.
when you go through your entire day and you're in a space that you are not necessarily aligned in or aligned with, and then you go home and you wonder why you're so exhausted, and you tell yourself a story about I have no reason to be exhausted because
Hmm.
we're a go 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 culture. That's
That's right.
not liberating us. That's harming us. That's why we are having so many health issues. Like like our bodies speak to us, but we don't pause enough
That's
to
right.
even give ourselves the recognition that we deserve, to
That's right.
be fluent in more than one language, even if that language, if we're going to use English, we're speaking English. However, the way I speak English in a Fortune 500 company and the way I show up on the block going to be different, right? The way I
That's
show
right.
up at home is different.
That's
Let
right.
alone let's add languages that are not English,
That's right.
not give enough credit to people who are multilingual and the
That's right.
exhaustion it takes to do that work. So there's so much that is there that is important for us to even begin to acknowledge before we even move into the work.
That's right.
Um, so yes, thank you so much for taking us back to where you were, and thinking about what was happening in that moment for you because you might have saved someone's life.
Well,
Um,
and honestly, that's why I wrote the book, because um, I was absolutely, it was like the rug had been pulled. And when I walked away, I don't know why I thought it would be easier, but, and it was, look, at the end of the day, my health got better in certain things, but it was like the rug was pulled out and I literally had no foundation. And so I'm not going to say it's an easy choice, but in the larger scheme of things, making these decisions is kind of critical to your health and well-being, among other
Absolutely.
things, and to your fulfillment and all of those things. And um, very few people would on their at the last stage wish they had stayed in a job that they only halfway enjoyed. you know
That is
there's lots
true.
of there's nobody that thinks on their last days that, boy, I wish I had stayed on that job, even if it was for more money. um
Yeah,
so it is worth the journey. It is not a simple journey. And look, nobody promised that navigating the earth school was a um, rose garden. That's
mhm,
not been promised.
okay,
It is fulfilling, but it's not simple or easy. It's a winding path, and
yes.
it's a school. So how do we as human beings learn?
How do
We
we do
learn by making mistakes, but
Look
then we
here.
tell ourselves we can't make any.
Facts on facts.
Yeah.
So you've already started to introduce uh, the book "Women Don't Retire: How to Live Your Passion and Leave Your Legacy." It's a new
Yes.
chapter for women of color. Talk about this book.
Girl, this book, it is, for me, I still giggle at the story because I literally wrote a version of this book more than 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And it was a retirement blueprint or something of that. I can't even remember the title exactly. And I showed it to a mentor of mine, a male mentor of mine. And he said, "You need to write about something you know about." And I had, at that point,
Mhm.
had left my corporate world and I was navigating a new life. So I felt like I knew something about leaving. But and now he was an older man. So I'm not totally surprised, especially the way that I talked about that transition was more emotional and things. But nevertheless, he told me I should write about something I know about, as if I hadn't had a real experience, which was a fascinating thing. And so fast forward to the end of the fall of 2024, and that was around the time I met you too.
Yeah. It was right
And
in
suddenly became abundantly in fact, that's why I met you. Now that I think about it, it became abundantly clear to me that I was supposed to be recrafting this book. And I
Mhm.
was like, okay, I don't even know what that means. I mean, I get the messages in my dream time, and I don't always know what all of it means. Now I understand I don't need to color it in. I need to let it unfold. But in my younger days, I thought I had to color in the parts.
Whoa, whoa, time out, time out. You said I learned I needed to not color it in. I needed to let it unfold.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes. Okay, so let's
okay,
let's let's talk about that part, because it is,
okay.
life is a journey. And I remember I told you this moment is a moment that's 20 years in the making. This is the
Absolutely.
type of thing that has become abundantly clear. Um, you get the visions. I mean, I have a deep relationship with my inner voice and with the divine, whatever you want to call it. The universe, it doesn't, God, all works for me. I've been to seminary, so I can talk about God, but I can also talk about other things. Um,
Mm,
but I used to color in the picture. Like, you get a sketch normally to begin of what the vision is. And I used to be like coloring in. I knew what color that was going to be. And so I kept trying. instead of letting it unfold. I kept trying to make it happen in a context that it could never happen, because there were a lot of things that had to come together for this particular vision to start to manifest. And it was, most of it I didn't have any control over.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
surrendering.
yes. It's that journey of surrender and understanding what's yours to do at what time. This is
Yep.
really critical
Yep.
stuff, because
Yep.
not everything is yours to do. We are not here to do anything actually by ourselves. We are here, we don't understand this at all in this Western culture, but we are actually here to do things collectively. And the sooner we get to a space where we unlearn individualism and relearn how to be in community. And being in community and working as a collective does not mean you agree. What it does mean is that there is wisdom, the wisdom of the collective, that is more comprehensive and more powerful than the wisdom of the individual. That is true. That's a capital T truth.
Yes.
But we have to learn how to create spaces where that can bubble up and emerge.
Absolutely.
And then learn how to put some clothes on it. Like, we can let the collective wisdom rise, and then we got to put the clothes on it. You also have to create a structure around it, right?
Yes. Sorry about that. I needed you to break that down, because that was a word I needed to hear as someone, and a lot of us are perfectionists, right? We try to do, we can't present, and things can't unfold unless it looks a certain way, right? And everything has to be done, it has to be meticulous. So I really wanted folks to be able to hear that message, about it didn't need to color it in, it just needed to unfold. But back to, thank you for breaking that down. I needed that for myself, and I was like, if I needed it, somebody else also needed it. But back to Women Don't Retire.
Yes. So, you know, and the thing about the book that's so powerful for me now is that I had no idea what was going to unfold in the last just over a year. When I came back to the book, I just knew I was supposed to recraft it for women of color. That's the piece I knew for sure. And I didn't realize how opportune the moment would be. And so in the recrafting, it suddenly became a much more embodied book. And I do understand. So the critique that I got back in the day was real, in the sense that it wasn't as embodied as it is now, that book that I wrote before. And so he was telling me part of the truth, but he didn't know, because he thought it was another thing, like I wasn't old enough to know what I was talking about, which wasn't the truth. What was true is it wasn't quite embodied in the way that it is now. And so there's an aspect of which the book, I love this book, but it was never about the book. It's about the opportunity to get us. It's about the opportunity to bring us as women of color together, so that we can begin to have real conversations. If you're giving us the translated version of yourself, there's not a real conversation happening, right? And we don't have very many spaces where we can bring our true selves. We're always in the translated version, maybe with our family. Even our family sometimes requires the translated version, so their feelings don't get hurt. I said it.
You said, oh.
I said it. Sometimes our family requires the edited version of us too, so feelings don't get hurt. And so my objective is to gather women into spaces, and yours is one of those spaces where we can have an unfiltered, doesn't mean having an unfiltered conversation doesn't mean you're mean. It means you love. I just told my cousins this. My aunt passed, and I've had a bunch of conversations with my cousins because it was like a family reunion. It was beautiful. But I said to my cousin, you know, there does come a time, and I'm a devotional liberator. Devotion means love. But I love people enough to speak the capital T truth to them. And that doesn't always feel excellent. And it doesn't always feel soft.
Yeah.
I don't know that I come hard with it, but maybe I do sometimes. But it's not to be hard. It's to be real and to be on point. Sometimes things that are the capital T truth You have, it doesn't always, and what I find in my life is people come back to me, and sometimes it's years later, and they're like, oh my God, you don't know what the impact is that you've had on my life.
Yeah.
Um, and so I want to gather us. And we're
Yeah.
not going to agree on everything. We're not supposed to, because the the
We're
truth, the
multi-dimensional.
universal truth, one person can't hold it all.
Yeah.
There isn't
Yeah.
anybody that has the fullness of the truth. We got
Mhm.
to, the point of it is for us to come together and discern the truth as a collective.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Ugh. Ugh. I was over here trying to keep my mouth shut. I'm like, yeah, yeah, be quiet, Heather. Hold on, hold your body back. Hold your body. Like and this is where our alignment comes in so beautifully. Understanding that we can go so much further in our own liberation through community.
Yes.
In the way of moving individually is not the way to go, right? So community is so important for both of what we do. And for
Yes.
those who might be out there and say, well, Pam holds community and Heather holds community, you got to be in competition with each other. Absolutely not.
No. And in
Because
fact,
even
we have shared
we
clients.
share community. Why? Because what
Yep.
I do and what I am called to do is going to be different than what Pam is called to do. And
That's right.
even if we were called to do the exact same thing, the way I do it and the way
Yeah.
Pam does it is going to be completely different,
That's
right?
right.
Her
That's right.
lived experience, my lived experience, all lends itself to the way in which we show up in these rooms. And
That's right.
so I want to thank you for being someone who understands that assignment and understand that there is not the need for competition in order for us to all move forward. That is rare. And I feel
That's
like we're moving at a time where people are starting to understand what that means, and they're starting to unlearn it, but there's so much programming that has been
yes.
done that
Yes.
we're going to fall into old traps, and it's going to take some time to like back it on up and then recreate our own script. And so it is from the moment that we met, we saw synergy, and we were
Yes.
like, how can we make this happen
That's right.
together, right?
That's
And so that is huge, in terms of us being able to make that happen. There is so much that is here within the book Women Don't Retire. So I want to make sure that you all have the opportunity to check this out. So if you're interested in getting a copy of Women Don't Retire, make sure you head to shop.fiberoflifellc.com to get your copy. Check out the book that she mentioned is only the beginning of the conversation, right? It starts here, but the roundtables are here. The
yes.
podcast Soul Sync is here. And all of this is meant to for us to be in community as we're making it happen. Okay, y'all. So make sure y'all pick up a copy of Women Don't Retire, and then check out some more resources so that again, bit by bit, day by day, as you're asking yourself, what does liberation look like for you today? You're
Yes.
moving yourself in that way so that you're filling in that hollowness. You're asking yourself that question of where is that hollowness coming from? In that answer is going to be these resources. Understanding that you've outgrown where you are,
Yep.
allowing others to help you what your next step is so important. So before we close, I really want you to just give us a little bit more information about the community gathering, the
Yeah.
pause, what's
Oh,
happening on
yes.
March
Thank you for
26th.
reminding me. Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. So I have a Substack community, PamelaJThomas.com. And this next week, in fact, the end of this month, the 26th, I'm hosting, I did a small event called Quiet Reinvention, and it was very well received back in January. But
Mhm.
our community has a newsletter called The Pulse and an event, a monthly event called The Pause. And this is to embrace the aspect of rhythm that we so often forget in the rush. We're not embracing the rhythm of life. The pause and the pulse go together. That's how
Yeah.
we breathe. That's how the heart pumps. And so the pulse is going to be a moment that where we gather as a community for
Mm,
quiet, just to be
yeah.
in a space, in a field of energy together without, just for the opportunity to pause. Um, I got the beautiful feedback at the Quiet Reinvention, which was a similar
Mm,
but longer, um, and just what I needed. I didn't even know I needed it.
yep.
We don't give ourselves the space. So if we create a collective space, and the other part of it is you can feel held. You
Mm,
know about this from your community too. I mean, look,
absolutely.
I haven't really found any other community that really is in alignment with the way I view these types of spaces beyond yours, to be perfectly honest. I mean,
Mm.
you all know about being in space together and having some time for writing. That's also on one level quiet. Your mind's not that quiet, but yeah, on one level, that's a quiet time together also. And then you come out of a quiet time where you don't have to have an interaction with each other immediately, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden the conversation goes deep. I mean, you all
Yeah.
have some real conversation. We, what am I saying? You, like I'm not there.
I was
I'm
like,
there
you're
for
in
morning
it.
pages,
You've
right?
been in
We
it,
have
honey.
real conversations, right?
Yeah.
In this community. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so I want to invite everyone to take a look at pamelajthomas.com, my Substack space. And if you drop your email in and come on in, it's no cost or anything. You can join us for the pause next week, and we'd love to have anybody who's interested in taking that moment. Thank you, dear. Yeah. That's beautiful. Um, Come on in and join us for this pause experience. It's an experience,
Oh my
to
goodness.
take a pause with others and notice that you can actually sense the other people in the room with you. It's very cool.
It's very beautiful. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Pam, thank you so much for spending time with us, for having this conversation with us. This conversation is just getting started. And so we will be continuing the conversation, and that you all will have access to in Substack, actually. And so make sure you all check that out. Make sure you are checking out PamelaJThomas.com so that you have that opportunity to experience the pause. We've been talking about the pause this entire time that we have been together, right? And we've also been in conversation. There is nothing like creating the space to really pause for
Yes.
longer than 3 seconds, and then creating space to hear what might be going on in your mind, to understand what your body has not had a chance to tell you just yet, to get clarity on your next step, to be in conversation with others. There's absolutely nothing like it. All right. So y'all make sure y'all check this out. And my goodness, if this conversation spoke to you in any way, please do not forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, because we are here every first and third Mondays of the month, to have this conversation around healing, writing, and remembering who we were before the world got a hold of us. Before we completely close things out, I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to create a space for folks that are watching either here or during the replay, to have a journaling prompt, for them to walk away with. So, Pam, would you mind sharing your guest journaling prompt for folks today?
Yeah. I almost forgot about that part too. So I want to ask you all to spend a moment, take a breath first, because this is a tough question. What was the time that you realized that you shaped and changed your voice for the sake of survival? And what taught you that that was necessary?
Mm, that's where the work begins.
Yes.
Identifying that root so that we understand how we can move forward. Um, it's so important. It is so important. Pam, thank you so much for being in this space with us. I'm so glad you are safe and that
Thank you.
you took the time. Even I want to acknowledge the fact that you're like, oh, this is happening. Some folks would be like, nope, I gotta be here, right? Nope. You're like, I gotta go check to make sure, right? Like, and we work together to make sure things can happen. And so
Yes.
I'm glad that you were safe. I'm glad
Yes.
that you
Thank you.
demonstrated things, checking on your own safety and your own well-being. Um, I I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Oh my goodness. Hold on really quickly. I just wanna make this.
We've had all kinds of extra musical sounds this episode, huh? I've lost your voice. You gone muted.
I
There
sure
we
did
go.
because I didn't want
Yeah.
you to see like my little slack dance. We sure did. We sure did, but
Yes.
we worked through it. And so I
Yeah.
appreciate you. Thank y'all so much for joining us for the 7th episode of All About Our Liberation with our guest, Pamela J. Thomas, the author of Women Don't Retire, the creator of the am I going to get it right? Round Table.
Yeah, you can call it the round table now. I
The
was
round
calling
table.
the Women Don't Retire round table, but to tell you the
No,
truth, this is the third version of it, so it's now the round table.
the round table and the host of Soul Sync. Thank you so much for being
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And we will be back on the first Monday of April. My goodness, I don't know how we
Gosh.
got here. It is so wild to me to be in this space. And last but not least, if you think this is something that has piqued your interest and is something that you can see yourself really being a part of in the long term, right? We are in the process of pulling together our anthology, All About Our Liberation, a manifesto for women of color. So join our wait list at allaboutourliberation.com. And you will have the opportunity to have more conversations like this in a book, just like, not just like, but like holding the book in your hand. If there's nothing
Yeah.
like this journey.
Yeah.
And so make sure y'all join that wait list so that we can continue the conversation. Thank y'all so much who have been here with us. Thank y'all so much for the ones that will be watching the replay. And until next time, I want to let you know that I see you and I appreciate you for being here with us. And I want to send you all of the love and liberation that I have inside of me. So until next time, we will see you. Bye, y'all.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jaref. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.